Hello friends, Tanya here for Trinity Stamps. It is release day in October 2022 and it is a sparkle season release. Just keep in mind there is always a way to win a couple of $25 gift cards to the Trinity store. Stay tuned to the end of this video to see those. I am featuring the Deck the Halls stamp set. No, Deck the Farm stamp set. It is an adorable stamp set that has a gnome riding a tractor, pulling a trailer with a beautiful Christmas tree and a adorable Santa bag full of gifts. I had a blast creating with this one, and I will show you the coloring on this round, but I will end up using a different image because you'll see why. I have sped this up 8 times its normal speed. So it took me about 15 to 20 minutes to color this entire image, and it's really quite easy. I try to color all of the same color, the same color images at the same time, and you have to be a little careful with the reds because they will bleed into each other. I used 2 or 3 different Copic colors on each image that I wanted to use so I could get a little bit of shading. There's some polka dots on that patch and some stripes on this patch, and I wanted him to have a nice bright red Santa style cap. So this is going to be a Santa style gnome riding his tractor full of Christmas goodies. He's got some red gloves and a nice gray beard, just using some warm grays for his beard and E11 and E13 for his face. He's got boots and fur trim on his outfit, and we've got our nice big tractor wheels that I'm coloring with some toner grays. I did end up darkening these a little bit on the second go round. We have some nice yellow accents. This is kind of like a John Deere. That was the most popular tractors and equipment when I was growing up. I know there are lots of different kinds though. Now here's where I totally messed it up. I tried to stamp over the top of it with my Misty. And look, there are feathers tucked in this tree. It's so adorable. I love how that turned out. The first time I colored it, I did not realize they were feathers. Super excited that I noticed it, and now we're going to add a little bit of extra shimmer to our Santa's beard and to several elements on the tree and the star. This was not a difficult image to color, and it was really a lot of fun. You could get really creative with your color choices. Do you see those feathers? Oh, I love them. There are coordinating dies for all of the parts of this stamp set. There is the large image and 3 additional sentiments. Next, we're going to use various greens of the Distress Oxides, and I've taken a light blue cardstock, and we're going to use the Layered Pine Forest stencil set. I think this is a natural choice for this adorable Santa. There are 6 different sizes of trees on this stencil set because there's a row of trees on each long side. And this is a 6x9 stenciling set. So it would work with Slimlines, 5x7 cards, A2 cards, mini Slimline, and the adorable 4-bar. All kinds of sizes, and whatever other size you could come up with. I have some very well saturated ink blending foams here, and I'm using those to apply ink through the stencils, and I'm getting some great coverage in no time at all. I had used some pixie spray on the back of these stencils when I first started using them, and it's still holding up very well. It can be a little difficult with these stencils if you don't use some form of temporary adhesive on the back, because this has openings at the bottoms of the trees. I did only go with 4 of the colors, and I did try to have some of the greens that tinted more towards the blue and some more towards the yellow to have a nice blend of trees, and so that they would all stand out very boldly on top of each other. This stencil layering set is one of my favorites, and I think it really complements our Deck the Farm stamp. I'm not alone. I've seen a couple other samples using this stencil set. I did use a 5x7 piece of cardstock to start this off because I plan to make a 5x7 card. I did stop with the third layer, no, the fourth layer. Yes. And now we're going to use the Slimline Snowfall stencil and some of the Distress Grit Paste in Snowfall. This came out last year, and you know what? This is the first time I'm opening this jar. There are 2 layers in the Snowfall stencil set. I'm only using one. Just going to take a palette knife and apply this grit paste through the stencil. You could use all kinds of different products. Whatever you've got that might look sparkly and snowish, you can add over the top of this. And the green of the trees does bleed into this paste a little bit. It does dry fairly quickly. I think I let it dry for 15 minutes or so, and it was ready to go. Just going to try to get a nice even covering of this, and I could have used a stencil pal, which is a wide scraper that would have covered the entire width of the stencil, but I decided to just go for it with my palette knife. I am taking what's left of the grit paste that I used on the project and applying that to this piece of white cardstock that I used a scene building die set on to create that snowdrift look. I used that same die set, which I'll have linked in the description box below, because I honestly forgot to film that part and I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. We've got a piece of glitter cardstock that we're going to adhere down to this piece. I've trimmed it down and I have it laying on my mat so that I can determine exactly where a 5x7 card panel would end. So I can get that all nicely lined up and adhered. Next, I'm using the A7 envelope builder die set, and it has this adorable scalloped panel. And I'm going to use that to create a border or a mat around this cute scene. I do have to trim this down to, I think, 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 to fit inside this scallop panel. Next, we're going to adhere all of that to the front of a 5x7 card base. I'm using a heavyweight white cardstock that's cut to 7x10 and scored in the middle at 5 inches to create a 5x7 card. The scalloped panel is cut from some shimmery white cardstock and adhered directly to the card front. I just need to fix that one little piece a little bit with some of my liquid glue, and we'll adhere that directly to our matte panel. And then we're going to add a little bit of dimension behind our little gnome Santa farmer. Just took a couple of pieces of scrap cardstock and die cut those with the same die, and we'll adhere those together, layering them up nicely, and we'll have a little bit of a thicker dimensional piece to really highlight on the front of our card. Just one more layer here, and you can definitely see that this is scrap cardstock. Don't need to let it go to waste. Has a perfectly good use here. I did put my Misty on top of that group of panels to help those adhere nice and solid, especially since there was some glitter cardstock involved. Now we'll add that piece again, and now it's time for the sentiments. We're going to add this Deck the Farm with a little piece of paper behind it to add a little extra dimension. I love that it fits right on that wagon. We did the same with the sentiment, Merry Christmas, y'all. Just going to make sure that's nice and straight. And then it'll be time to decorate the inside of the card. We're going to take the last sentiment and add that to the inside of the card that I've die cut. I've stamped and die cut this, and it says, "Have yourself a merry little Christmas." I have it nicely centered in here, and I thought I was done, but I decided I really needed to add a little bit of the outside to the inside. So we've taken that main image, inked it up in some iced spruce, and stamped it to the inside of the card using an open-sided stamp positioner. Love it. Turned out so cute. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment below, like this channel, subscribe to this channel, and check out this drawing. You can win a chance for 2 $25 gift cards to Trinity Stamp Store that ends on the 10th of October. Check all of those details. Subscribe, like, comment. You know the drill. Check that description box below for a list of the items that I've used to create today's project. A link to the next video in this hop is in that description box below. Until next time, bye-bye.